If you're a man over 60 and you feel like your energy isn't what it used to be, your strength is fading, or your motivation just isn't there anymore, I want you to listen very carefully, because what you're experiencing is not just getting older. Aging does not automatically mean weakness, fatigue, or loss of vitality. In many cases, it means your body is missing critical nutrients it can no longer absorb or produce efficiently. As we age, digestion changes, absorption slows, hormone levels shift, and inflammation quietly increases. Even if you're eating what you believe is a healthy diet, you may still be deficient in certain vitamins that are absolutely essential for male energy, performance, and overall vitality. Today, I want to share with you 3 vitamins that men over 60 must pay attention to if they want to feel strong, sharp, and alive again. If you are over 60 and you wake up tired, feel weak during the day, or notice that your motivation and drive are not what they used to be, I want you to pause for a moment and listen carefully. Too many men automatically blame age for these changes. They say this is just what happens when you get older. But that belief is one of the biggest mistakes you can make, because in most cases, the real problem is not aging itself, it is deficiency. Aging does not mean your body suddenly forgets how to produce energy. It does not mean your muscles are supposed to waste away, your mind should become foggy, or your enthusiasm for life should disappear. What really happens is more subtle. As you age, your body's ability to absorb and utilize nutrients declines. Your digestive system becomes less efficient. Stomach acid decreases, enzymes slow down. The same foods you ate for years no longer deliver the same nutritional value to your cells. Over time, this creates silent deficiencies that drain your energy from the inside out. This is why so many men over 60 feel exhausted even when they are not doing much. They sleep, but they don't feel rested. They eat, but they don't feel fueled. They move, but their strength feels limited. This is not normal aging. This is the body running on empty. Another critical factor is inflammation. As we get older, chronic low-grade inflammation becomes more common. It doesn't always cause pain, but it quietly interferes with how your cells produce energy. Inflammation blocks nutrient absorption, disrupts hormone balance, and increases oxidative stress. All of this places a constant energy tax on your body. You may not feel sick, but you feel drained. Again, this is not because you are old. It is because your body is struggling without the raw materials it needs to function efficiently. Hormonal changes also play a role, but even here, deficiencies are often the root cause. Many vitamins are directly involved in hormone production and regulation. When those nutrients are low, testosterone levels can decline faster, muscle repair slows down, and recovery becomes harder. Men then assume their vitality is gone forever, but in many cases, restoring proper nutrition helps the body rebalance itself naturally. One of the most dangerous myths is the idea that if you eat pretty well, you must be getting everything you need. Modern food is not the same as it was decades ago. Soil depletion, food processing, long storage times, and artificial additives have dramatically reduced the nutrient content of many foods. You may be eating enough calories, but your cells may still be starving for key vitamins. Calories give you weight, nutrients give you life. There is also the issue of medications. Many men over 60 take medications for blood pressure, cholesterol, blood sugar, or digestion. While these medications may be necessary, they often interfere with vitamin absorption or increase nutrient depletion. Over time, this creates a compounding problem. Energy drops, strength declines, and mental sharpness fades, not because of age, but because the body is being quietly depleted. When the body lacks essential vitamins, it shifts into survival mode. Energy production becomes inefficient. Muscles fatigue faster. The brain conserves resources, leading to slower thinking and reduced focus. Motivation drops because the nervous system is undernourished. Even mood can suffer, making men feel less driven, less confident, and less engaged with life. This is why addressing deficiencies is not just about physical strength. It is about restoring the spark that makes you feel like yourself again. What's important to understand is that these changes do not happen overnight. Deficiency builds slowly over years. That's why it feels like aging. but the body is incredibly responsive when it finally gets what it needs. Many men are shocked at how much better they feel when nutrient levels are restored. Energy improves, strength returns, recovery speeds up, mental clarity sharpens, sleep improves, and suddenly life feels manageable again. This is why the question should never be, how old am I? The real question should be, what does my body need right now? When you shift your mindset from age to nourishment, everything changes. You stop accepting weakness as inevitable. You stop normalizing fatigue. You stop lowering your expectations for how you should feel. Your body is still working for you every single day. Your heart is beating, your lungs are breathing, your cells are repairing themselves, but they can only do so much without proper support. Vitamins are not magic pills, they are basic requirements. They are the tools your body uses to convert food into energy, repair tissue, protect your brain, and maintain strength. So if you are a man over 60 and you feel tired, weak, or run down, do not label yourself as old. That label does nothing but limit you. Instead, recognize that your body may simply be asking for help. In many cases, restoring essential vitamins is not about chasing youth. It is about reclaiming function, dignity, and vitality. Whose aging is inevitable, decline is not. When you address deficiencies, you give your body the opportunity to perform the way it was designed to, even later in life. And when the body is properly nourished, energy is no longer something you remember, it is something you feel again. Vitamin D is one of the most misunderstood and underestimated nutrients in the human body, especially for men over 60. Many people still think of it as just a bone vitamin, something related only to calcium and osteoporosis. But the truth is, vitamin D affects nearly every system in your body, and when levels are low, energy, strength, performance, and vitality all suffer quietly and steadily. What makes vitamin D so unique is that it functions more like a hormone than a traditional vitamin. Almost every cell in your body has a receptor for it. This means vitamin D is involved in muscle contraction, nerve signaling, immune defense, inflammation control, hormone regulation, and even mood. When you don't have enough, your body simply cannot operate at full capacity. For men over 60, deficiency is extremely common. As we age, our skin becomes less efficient at producing vitamin D from sunlight. Many older men also spend less time outdoors, cover their skin more, or live in areas where sunlight is limited for much of the year. On top of that, aging kidneys and liver reduce the body's ability to convert vitamin D into its active form. So even if you're getting some sun or eating vitamin D-rich foods, your usable levels may still be low. Low vitamin D often shows up as fatigue that doesn't make sense. You wake up tired, you feel drained after simple activities, your muscles don't respond the way they used to, strength feels harder to maintain, recovery takes longer. Many men describe a heavy, sluggish feeling in the body that no amount of sleep seems to fix. This happens because vitamin D plays a key role in muscle efficiency and cellular energy production. Without it, muscles tire faster and energy output drops. Vitamin D is also closely linked to testosterone levels. Healthy testosterone is not about ego or youthfulness. It is about strength, motivation, bone density, muscle mass, and overall drive. Low vitamin D is associated with lower testosterone, which can contribute to weakness, reduced endurance, increased fat gain, and decreased confidence. When vitamin D levels are restored, many men notice improved strength, better physical performance, and a renewed sense of vitality. Another critical role of vitamin D is its effect on inflammation. Chronic low-grade inflammation is one of the biggest energy thieves in aging men. It interferes with muscle repair, slows recovery, and puts constant stress on the nervous system. Vitamin D helps regulate the immune response and keeps inflammation in check. When levels are adequate, the body can repair itself more efficiently, leading to better stamina and less physical wear and tear. Bone health is another area where vitamin D is absolutely essential. Strong bones are not just about preventing fractures, they are about confidence and movement. When bones weaken, the body subconsciously limits motion to avoid injury. This leads to stiffness, reduced activity, and further loss of strength. Vitamin D improves calcium absorption and supports bone remodeling, helping men stay active, stable, and physically capable as they age. Mental energy and mood are also deeply influenced by vitamin D. Low levels are associated with low mood, lack of motivation, and even depressive symptoms. When mental energy drops, physical energy soon follows. Men may lose interest in activities they once enjoyed, not because they don't care, but because their nervous system is under-supported. Adequate vitamin D supports brain function and neurotransmitter balance, helping restore mental clarity, focus, and drive. One of the most important things to understand is that vitamin D deficiency often goes unnoticed. Blood work is not always done routinely, and symptoms are often blamed on age, stress, or lack of sleep. But when levels are corrected, the improvement can be profound. Men often report better sleep quality, improved muscle tone, increased endurance, and a stronger sense of well-being. These changes don't happen overnight, but they build steadily as the body regains balance. Food sources like fatty fish, egg yolks, and fortified foods can help, but for many men over 60, diet alone is not enough. This is not a failure. It is simply biology. The body changes with age, and nutritional strategies must change with it. The goal is not excess, but adequacy, giving the body what it needs so it can do what it's designed to do. Vitamin D also works best when it's part of a bigger picture. It supports muscle function, but muscles still need movement. It supports hormones, but the body still needs proper rest. It supports energy, but the nervous system still needs nourishment. When vitamin D is optimized alongside healthy habits, the results are far greater than any single change alone. If you are a man over 60 and you feel weaker than you should, more tired than makes sense, or less motivated than you once were, vitamin D should not be ignored. This is not about chasing youth or trying to be someone you're not. It is about restoring balance, preserving strength, and maintaining independence. Your body still has incredible potential even later in life, but it depends on the basics being in place. Vitamin D is one of those basics. When it is missing, the system struggles. When it is restored, the system works. And when the system works, energy, performance, and vitality are no longer things you hope for. They are things you experience again. Vitamin B12 is one of the most critical nutrients for men over 60, yet it is also one of the most commonly overlooked. Many men go years, even decades, with low B12 levels without realizing it. The symptoms are subtle at first, then gradually become more noticeable, and eventually they are accepted as just part of getting older. But once again, aging is often blamed for a problem that is actually nutritional at its core. Vitamin B12 is essential for life. It plays a central role in nerve function, brain health, red blood cell formation, and cellular energy production. Every movement you make, every thought you have, and every ounce of stamina you feel depends on a healthy nervous system and an adequate supply of oxygen to your tissues. B12 supports both of these processes. When it is low, the entire system slows down. One of the main reasons B12 deficiency is so common in men over 60 is absorption. As we age, stomach acid naturally declines. This acid is required to separate B12 from protein in food so it can be absorbed. Without enough acid, even a diet rich in animal products may not provide usable B12. This means many men are deficient despite eating what appears to be a balanced diet. Another major factor is medication use. Common medications for acid reflux, heartburn, diabetes, and even cholesterol can interfere with B12 absorption. Over time, this creates a silent deficiency that gradually affects energy, coordination, and mental clarity. The body adapts for a while, but eventually the symptoms become harder to ignore. Low B12 often shows up as fatigue that feels different from normal tiredness. It is a deep, draining exhaustion that does not improve with rest. Muscles feel heavy. Physical activity feels harder than it should. Endurance drops. This happens because B12 is required to produce healthy red blood cells, which carry oxygen throughout the body. When B12 is low, oxygen delivery suffers and energy production drops at the cellular level. The nervous system is especially vulnerable to B12 deficiency. Nerves rely on B12 to maintain their protective coating known as myelin. When this process is disrupted, nerve signals slow down or become distorted. This can lead to tingling or numbness in the hands and feet, poor balance, weakness, and slower reaction times. Many men become more cautious in their movements without realizing why. They may feel less stable on their feet, which increases the risk of falls and injuries. Brain function is also heavily dependent on vitamin B12. Low levels are associated with memory problems, difficulty concentrating, mental fog, and slower processing speed. Men may find it harder to stay focused, recall names, or think clearly under pressure. This can be frustrating and even frightening, leading many to worry about cognitive decline. In many cases, restoring B12 levels can significantly improve mental sharpness and confidence. Mood changes are another common but under-recognized sign of B12 deficiency. B12 is involved in the production of neurotransmitters that regulate mood and motivation. When levels are low, men may feel irritable, unmotivated, or emotionally flat. Life feels heavier. Tasks feel more difficult. Motivation fades not because of a lack of willpower, but because the nervous system is undernourished. What makes B12 especially important is that deficiency can cause long-term damage if left unaddressed. Nerve damage from prolonged deficiency may become irreversible. This is why early awareness and proper support are so important. The good news is that when deficiency is caught and corrected, the body often responds remarkably well. Many men are surprised by how quickly they feel changes once B12 levels are restored. Energy improves, mental clarity sharpens, coordination becomes more reliable, physical confidence returns, even sleep quality can improve as the nervous system regains balance. These improvements reinforce an important truth. The body wants to function well, but it needs the right tools. Dietary sources of B12 include meat, fish, eggs, and dairy, but for many men over 60, food alone may not be enough because absorption through the digestive tract is impaired. Alternative forms such as sublingual B12 or medically supervised supplementation may be necessary. This is not a weakness or a failure. It is simply an adaptation to the realities of aging physiology. It is also important to understand that B12 works best when the body is supported as a whole. Adequate protein intake, proper hydration, physical movement, and rest all help maximize its benefits. B12 does not create energy out of nothing. It allows your body to efficiently produce energy from the resources you provide. For men over 60, maintaining independence, mental sharpness, and physical capability is not optional. It is essential for quality of life. Vitamin B12 supports all of these. It protects the nervous system, fuels the brain, and enables the body to convert food into usable energy. Without it, even the strongest will eventually feel weak. If you're experiencing fatigue, brain fog, balance issues, or a general sense that your body is not responding the way it used to, do not dismiss these signals. Your body may be asking for B12. Addressing this deficiency is not about reversing age, it is about preserving function and vitality. When the nervous system is nourished and energy production is restored, life feels lighter, movement feels more confident, thinking feels clearer, and once again you begin to feel capable, present, and engaged. Vitamin B12 is not just a nutrient, it is a foundation for energy, performance, and vitality well into your later years. Vitamin K2 is one of the most overlooked nutrients in modern health, yet it plays a powerful role in longevity, strength, and vitality for men over 60. Most people have heard of vitamin K in relation to blood clotting, but very few understand the specific importance of vitamin K2 and how deeply it affects the heart, bones, joints, and circulation. When these systems are protected and working efficiently, energy and performance naturally improve. One of the primary roles of vitamin K2 is calcium regulation. Calcium is essential for strong bones, but it can become dangerous when it ends up in the wrong places. Without enough K2, calcium tends to deposit in the arteries and soft tissues instead of being directed into the bones and teeth. Over time, this contributes to arterial stiffness, reduced circulation, joint discomfort, and increased cardiovascular risk. For men over 60, this process quietly reduces stamina and physical resilience. Good circulation is the foundation of vitality. Every muscle contraction, every heartbeat, and every thought in the brain depends on efficient blood flow. When arteries become stiff or narrowed, less oxygen and fewer nutrients reach the tissues. This leads to quicker fatigue, slower recovery, and reduced endurance. Vitamin K2 helps activate proteins that keep arteries flexible and clear, allowing blood to flow freely. When circulation improves, energy improves. Bone health is another critical area where vitamin K2 makes a significant difference. Strong bones are not just about density, they're about structure and resilience. Vitamin K2 activates osteocalcins, a protein that binds calcium into the bone matrix. Without enough K2, calcium cannot be properly utilized, even if vitamin D and calcium intake are adequate. This is why some men continue to lose bone strength despite doing everything right. For men over 60, bone weakness can lead to fear of movement. Subconsciously, the body limits activity to avoid injury. This leads to less exercise, muscle loss, stiffness, and a downward spiral of declining physical capability. Vitamin K2 supports bone strength in a way that restores confidence in movement, which is essential for maintaining independence and quality of life. Vitamin K2 also plays an important role in joint and soft tissue health. When calcium builds up where it does not belong, joints can become stiff and uncomfortable. K2 helps prevent this abnormal calcification, supporting smoother joint movement and reduced inflammation. When joints move freely, men are more likely to stay active, and activity itself is one of the most powerful tools for maintaining vitality. What makes vitamin K2 especially important is how it works together with vitamin D. Vitamin D helps absorb calcium from the diet, but without K2, that calcium may not be directed properly. This is why taking vitamin D without sufficient K2 can sometimes contribute to calcium buildup in arteries. Together, these two vitamins form a protective partnership. Vitamin D brings calcium into the body, and vitamin K2 makes sure it goes where it belongs. Heart health is another major area influenced by vitamin K2. Research has shown that adequate K2 intake is associated with reduced arterial calcification and improved cardiovascular outcomes. For men over 60, the heart works harder to compensate for changes in blood vessels. Supporting arterial flexibility helps reduce strain on the heart, improve endurance, and support overall cardiovascular efficiency. Energy and performance are deeply connected to heart health. When the heart and blood vessels work efficiently, the body does not need to compensate as much. Muscles receive oxygen more easily. Recovery improves. Physical exertion feels less taxing. Even mental energy improves when the brain receives steady blood flow. Dietary sources of vitamin K2 are relatively limited, which is one reason deficiency is so common. Fermented foods like natto, certain aged cheeses, and grass-fed animal products contain K2, but these foods are not staples in most modern diets. As a result, many men over 60 get very little K2 on a regular basis without realizing it. Vitamin K2 deficiency often goes unnoticed because symptoms develop slowly. There is no immediate pain or obvious warning sign. Instead, stiffness increases, endurance declines, and cardiovascular health gradually worsens. These changes are often blamed on aging, but once again, nutrition plays a central role. Avoiding K2 intake is not about taking excessive amounts or chasing quick fixes. It is about restoring balance. When calcium metabolism is optimized, the body functions more efficiently, bones become stronger, arteries remain flexible, joints move more freely, and when the body moves and circulates well, vitality follows. It is also important to understand that vitamin K2 is not a standalone solution. It works best as part of a complete approach that includes proper nutrition, regular movement, adequate vitamin D, and healthy lifestyle habits. But without K2, even the best efforts can fall short. For men over 60, the goal is not just to live longer, but to live better. To move with confidence, to stay active without fear, to maintain strength and endurance in daily life. Vitamin K2 supports all of these goals at a foundational level. When calcium is directed properly, circulation is protected and joints remain mobile. The body feels more capable. Energy becomes more stable. Performance improves naturally, and vitality is no longer something you remember from the past. It becomes something you experience in the present. Vitamin K2 may not get the attention it deserves, but its impact is profound. By supporting the heart, bones, and circulation, it helps men over 60 maintain strength, independence, and quality of life. And when those foundations are strong, everything else becomes easier.